What is going on, Diablo 2 fans? Dobrunsky here, and today's video is going to be a very quick update on the final patch notes for patch 2.5. Now, believe it or not, even though most of Terra Zones and sort of the concept of Sunder Charms has been fleshed out for the most part, there's actually a couple really big updates in this blog post. So again, very quick video. I apologize, I'm a little bit late. I was busy IRL, but we're going to jump into some of the new additions to Terra Zones as well as some minor tweaks to Sunder Charms. So very interesting stuff, as well as I'm going to cover at the end of the video, maybe a subtle hint at stackable currencies, but probably not. I think it's more like a troll thing from the devs, but we're going to cover that all in today's video. So the first update for Terra Zones is the devs have now explained to us how they're actually unlocked, because this was sort of an area of controversy that I kind of was debating back and forth with like community members on my live streams, is that a lot of people were like, well, what happens if you're playing through the game in normal and all of a sudden like Tristram becomes terrorized? You could just continue to repeat that area over and over again, power level, and just, you know, get up to like level 30 or something in normal before you progress through the rest of normal. That will not be the case, because they confirm directly here that to unlock the Terra Zone feature, you must defeat Bale per character per difficulty using any expansion character. Existing characters that have already fulfilled the requirements will automatically have this feature unlocked. So that pretty much negates the whole concept or idea of the leveling process changing from a Terra Zone spawning as you're doing a playthrough. You need to kill either normal, nightmare, or hellbale first to unlock that feature in the same respective difficulty. The second somewhat significant update to Terra Zones is basically cosmetic changes, or what they call unique environmental lighting and ember visual effects. I'll do some post-editing to show the original Terra Zones from the first version of PTR and the new updated feature. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking, but I do think it looks very cool. It's something that I actually advocated for in a previous video. It's something that sort of distinguishes the terrorized zone from a regular area, and I think that they actually nailed it, and it does look pretty good. So the final, somewhat minor update to Terra Zones is a unique icon that shows up next to a terrorized zone in the waypoint menu. Just a small little quality of life thing to kind of help distinguish between other areas, but you could, prior to this update, just determine a terrorized zone by opening up the chat window. They did also briefly touch on how shared stash tabs are going to interact with Season 2 and Season 3. The gist of it essentially is when Season 1 officially ends, your characters will be transferred to non-ladder, but then you'll gain 3 new stash tabs that are withdraw only, that you'll have the entire duration of Season 2 to withdraw items from those tabs specifically, then pull them onto the personal stash of your character. It's important to note though that at the start of Season 3, anything that's on those withdraw only tabs will be deleted, so make sure if you have anything super important, so like a GG5 NATO or insane rare item that is a trophy item to you and it's very important, make sure that you pull it off the withdraw only tab, put it onto the personal tab of your character. So moving on to Sunder Charms, the devs have introduced 2 significant changes. The first is the abilities granted from Sunder Charms now applies to your pets and summons. So this will have the most significant impact on the Trapson, really boosting her lightning damage. Now I don't really know how much of an impact it will have on the Summonek or the Summon Druid. My gut tells me nowhere near as much as the Trapson, but again, maybe someone will theory craft some crazy Summon Druid where you're using a physical Bone Break charm and a Cold Rift charm for the Spirit Wolves or something, and it might actually be really powerful. Time will tell once people kind of play around and sort of optimize the builds. But they did also add a varying res roll to all of these charms. I think this was a really good addition to the game because it turns it into a chase item. So if you look at Shaco, the only varying stat on it is defense. So once you really drop like a single Shaco, that's about it. But if you compare it to something like, I don't know, Grief or Death Fathom, etc., they'll have varying rolls, like depending on if it's a room or an item. So you're always chasing that better roll. So you kind of get a trade commodity, and it's just, you don't drop one and you're kind of done with it. You're going to keep continuing to identify more and more, if that makes sense. So I think this was actually a really solid update. And finally, wrapping up the Sunder Charm section, there is a specific statement from the devs on their decision to not adjust Cold Mastery at all. Now this has been very divisive in the community in general, because a certain portion of the player base thinks it's fine, another portion thinks it's super overpowered, while another portion wants to see Cold Mastery basically flip to B plus damage. They decided to leave it alone. I actually made an entire video covering sort of my thoughts and sort of the community's gauge as well, but to quote the devs specifically, they stated, "We have heard much of the community's thoughts on how the new Sunder Charms work with the Sorceress Cold Mastery ability. Looking at the percentage of monsters that are cold immune, the trade-offs of having to gain and equip a new Grand Charm, and rechecking our damage output, we feel the current behavior of Cold Mastery is not significantly more powerful than many other abilities affected by Sunder and does not need to be changed at this time." Now, whether or not you agree or disagree, I mean, let me know in the comment section below. It turns out that for at least Season 2, Cold Mastery will be completely unchanged. So I want to wrap up this video by briefly touching on this image at the tail end of the blog post that has the entire community freaking out. There's a puzzle here that has already been solved. It states specifically, and I'll read it out, So many gems, what to do with these orange numbers? People have already jumped to the conclusion that this might be potentially currency stacking. So you're stacking like multiple gems, that orange number is indicating if you have like 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Or it could just be a troll from the devs with the chat gem. I'm leaning more towards the second, but let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. If it is the second, I think just the reaction from the community in general sort of shows how much everybody is hoping for either stackable currency or a currency tab and eventually like a loot filter, in my opinion. So kind of exciting stuff, although I'm kind of leaning towards option number 2. But let me know in the comment section below if you guys think it is actually option number 1 and it might launch stackable currency for ladder on October 6th. Other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was a little bit late, a little bit busy IRL. I didn't have a ton of time to make this video, but other than that, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.